TD Jakes is my best friend. I often go to Jake's house at night. Jake's, Diddy, and I spend a lot of time together and have fun.
Obviously, the comparisons from the very beginning were to Eddie Murphy and the Clumps.
For sure.
Have you ever thought of a Medea meets the Clumps? You know I love to come in here and give you some ideas.
Listen to me. I would love to work with Eddie. Eddie won't return my calls, so maybe one day we'll have a conversation.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Tyler Perry, all of them. Tyler Perry fooled the whole black community. He went to churches. Went to a place where he could go where you could almost guarantee folk ain't gonna be thinking.
Well, he says, I'm the first person to pay Taraji P. Henson the most money she's ever made. And then we said, but did you pay her fairly? And then he said, I paid her more than she's ever made. What does that mean, brother? Remember when I said earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business? I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that. See, when I see you do a clip and you go to TD Jakes' church, and I watch you write a check for $1 million in front of the congregation, and you give it to this man, was that for the congregation to give more money? Or was that really genuine? See, when no one's watching, who are you? To when everyone's watching. And we got a chance to see when no one was watching.
Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
He would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin. Drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he'd have to lay some hands on somebody.
Eddie Murphy has always been renowned for expressing his thoughts. But what he's saying today is reaching a whole other level. One that's making people pause and reconsider everything they thought they knew about some of the greatest figures in entertainment and religion. In a topic that's gradually building up pace, Murphy is casting light on something dark. Something many have suspected but few have dared to comment about. He's calling out none other than Tyler Perry and Bishop T.D. Jakes, accusing them of being engaged in something considerably more terrible than anything the public has been permitted to witness. According to Eddie, Tyler Perry has been partaking in unsettling and deceptive conduct for a long time, especially behind the scenes, where the cameras don't roll and the actual bargains are done. He claims Perry has been using his influence, his studios, and his carefully cultivated public image as a cover while taking part in acts that involve the abuse and exploitation of vulnerable young boys, all for the sake of maintaining power, staying in the good graces of elite circles, and continuing to rise in a system that thrives on silence. What's even more unsettling is what Murphy says about Bishop T.D. Jakes. He isn't simply an uninvolved spectator or someone who turns a blind eye. According to Murphy, Jakes aggressively worked to bury the truth. He utilized his position as a respected church leader and his platform to distract attention, protect the persons involved, and make sure nothing slipped out that may harm the carefully created facade. Murphy depicts a pattern, one where those in authority protect one another, where secrets are buried deep, and where those who attempt to speak up are either shut down or driven out. He says, this isn't just a moral failure, it's a full-on cover-up that's been happening for years, with both Perry and Jakes deeply tied to the system that makes these abuses possible and protects those responsible.
Remember when I said earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business? I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that.
So you see that he's sort of a seemingly normal guy, but you know something's wrong, but you don't know why. They actually ask him what did he used to do when he said he was a pip and makes fun of it.
You go from Winfrey, you Tyler Perry. That told my I said that, say it with me. You go from Winfrey, you Tyler Perry. You told you're going too far, bitch. I love that black raggedy. I love that black simple-minded. I love Oprah Winfrey's black ass. And we just back to black. I need you to bend her to and her like a Nashville, Tennessee would and bring that to black. Oh, bitch, be quiet. You gonna get some money out of this. And every time you see you see gay. Best friends. Is what they say. I've never seen best friends like that. We ain't seen Stephanie 30 years. Who is loving Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King? Each other! But we don't want to say this out loud because it's Oprah Winfrey. I'm too old to be scared of I'm too old to be intimidated by this. I'm too old to hold the truth. You know why Oprah Winfrey, Melvin? Because that bitch me privately.
Every time debate begins swirling around Diddy and all the bad things he's supposedly done to musicians, Tyler Perry's name almost always slips into the mix, like clockwork. And the more it occurs, the harder it is to ignore. When someone's name continues popping up in those types of circles, it's not typically by mistake. But here's when things take a turn. There's a story flying around that Tyler Perry could possibly be answerable to Diddy. Sounds crazy, right? But what's even more astonishing is who purportedly brought it into the light: Eddie Murphy. Now, Eddie doesn't normally interject himself into difficult discussions. He remains silent on industry politics for the most part. So when he does speak out, people listen, because he's not just talking to talk. Recently, Eddie began peeling back the veil on some painful realities about how Hollywood operates, especially when it comes to Black musicians. He pointed out how the system has been intended to keep Black performers isolated, not physically, but strategically. Hollywood thrives on divide, and Eddie made it obvious that this gap isn't simply coincidental, it's purposeful. He didn't name names, but let's be real. The implications were hefty. And for someone who's been in the business as long as he has, he knows where the corpses are buried. What's even more remarkable is that for all their impact, Eddie Murphy and Tyler Perry have never worked together, not even once. Think about it. Two of the most powerful Black people in entertainment, and not a single collaboration? That's not just strange, it's suspicious. It talks to something deeper, a framework that inhibits solidarity among Black creatives. Or maybe even something more intimate. Behind the scenes, there's this fear, maybe founded in control, maybe ego, maybe survival, that teaming together may somehow disturb the roots of what each of them has constructed. But that worry doesn't simply arise out of nowhere. It's placed there. And Eddie's statements start to make even more sense when you look at his recent work. The man's appeared in over 50 productions in the previous 5 years, but just a handful of them were directed by Black directors. That tells a lot about the system, about who gets access, and maybe about who's keeping who at arm's length.
Because I wasn't a greedy person. I understood the game. I know that I can't make as much as a certain person that's been in the game longer than me, has proven box office success. I'm proving myself still. But at the same time, I'm not gonna belittle myself, my talent, and my worth. I know that I can at least bring you $500,000 in ticket sales. Right.
Got the whole world in his hands. Hey, I'm just sitting here on my porch just looking. What am I looking at? I'm looking to the hills from whence cometh my help. For my help? Some of y'all know the rest. I just wanted to come on and just tell everybody, just be as calm as you can.
So, okay, maybe Eddie hasn't called anybody out explicitly, but the way he's been talking lately, it seems like he's witnessed what's going on with Tyler Perry. And he's selecting his words carefully, but he's obviously saying something, because sometimes what's not spoken tells you all you need to know. You ever notice how we've never truly seen Will Smith and Denzel Washington team up the way, say, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro have over the years? It's almost like there's an unspoken barrier blocking some of the greatest Black figures in Hollywood from sharing the screen. And it's not for want of skill, audience desire, or opportunity. It seems more like there's something ingrained into the system that precludes these partnerships from occurring. And yeah, Maybe it is best that these symbols maintain a distance occasionally, particularly if they're still negotiating the power system surrounding them. But when you step back, it becomes clear. We're being robbed of some potentially game-changing creative relationships, not simply for entertainment's sake, but for cultural influence. This similar relationship shows up in the enigma of Tyler Perry and Eddie Murphy never working together. On paper, it doesn't make sense. Both are tremendous powers in entertainment, self-made, powerful, and culturally important. And yet, nothing. No crossover, no collaborative projects. Why? It's because Eddie has always known about the exploitation and manipulation methods by Perry, and he doesn't want to be a part of it. Black comic genius as a whole has been devalued and overlooked, and most of it is due of moguls like Perry, who don't think twice before sacrificing young talent for the sake of their own fame.
That Tyler Perry was the first person, I think I've got this right, who paid you what you were worth.
Yeah.
That's a huge statement.
You've been doing this for
over 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about what that realization
It's so
felt like.
crazy because I actually